Okay, hi, my name is Lisa, and I'm with an optometric practice in Birmingham, Alabama. And I was asked by Optometry Times to write an article on things that may be of interest in other practices around the United States. And one of the things that I first came forefront in my mind was the fact that most people are asking for, in our practice, their pupillary measurement. And I'm sure in your practice this is happening as well. So I thought to myself, let me just get out there and research and see what other offices are doing, how they're handling this request, and find out how we want to set protocol in our office as well. So I did a lot of research and I found a wide variety of responses. And one of the main ones was that, there was an increase definitely in requests for PD and that patients were doing a lot more shopping online. And I thought, well, let's just decide how we're going to handle this request and see what we can do to offset this and keep our patients in-house. So one of the first things that we did was to get an actual time with our patient so we could sit down with the patient and do an education process. When we get the opportunity to educate the patient, one of the first things that comes to mind is all of the new digital technology that we've had in our practice, such as digital lenses that require panoscopic tilt measurement, wrap, angles, that type thing. They're not going to get that advantage online. And also, my concern is when they shop online and they just take a pupillary measurement, that is only a horizontal measurement and it doesn't have the other components to make certain that those glasses are made properly. So with the education process, we're able to explain to the patient some of the things that are required, and given that information, a lot of times that itself will keep a patient in our office, in our practice. So I would suggest if you're not offering your patients digital technology, that might be one way to have a wow factor to your patients, that they can see a difference between something that they're going to get online versus what your practice could offer. Some of the doctor's offices that I researched were doing things like charging a fee, so the patient could take the prescription with a PD measurement and purchase glasses online. However, the office was retaining a measurement written down, a recording of it, and asked the patient to bring that back, and they got maybe a dispensing fee, that type thing, and that offered the patient the opportunity to make sure those glasses were made correctly and getting a fee for doing the measurement, which was nice as well. So that might be something your practice does. There are, in my article, as I mentioned when I wrote it, there are some websites you can go to and actually see what some of the other offices are doing and what the doctors are doing as far as some of the paperwork samples that you could use for that practice as well. One of the other things that comes to mind is when you do get that patient that has bought online and they bring their glasses back and they're not made properly, then you have another opportunity to educate the patient further in that aspect as well, because then you can decide what went wrong. So those are some of the things that come to mind as far as keeping patients in the office. But the main thing is to have your staff educated, to have your, something in place so that when a patient asks you for a pupillary measurement, you know what your staff is going to do. Everybody has practiced, they know how to respond, and just decide what's best for your practice. But more and more people, as we know, are purchasing online, and we look at it as the big picture. Some of the patients that purchase online may not be somebody you're losing. It may just be a second pair purchase, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to retain that patient for your practice. So we just take care of the patient first. I feel like that's the best concept for our office. If we take care of a patient, everything else is going to fall into place. But thank you so much for listening today, and I hope that you have something in place as well, and I'm sure across the industry we're all going to be working on this to come up with what we need to do to offset people purchasing online versus buying in a brick and mortar building. And thank you so much for your time today.